Hey guys, it's me again, Orchler. What if? So where we last left off? Let's see. Checking. Where we last left off on what if issei had the Chaos Flame. So I figured I'm gonna do like the issei, Deku, Bell. What if? I think that would be a good way to do it. So that way I can take time in between things, and so that way I can get it done faster to get the new series out. But sorry. Where I last left off, Issei had fought Issei, Matsuda, and Dog had fought Rias in her current peerage, which consists of Kiba, Akano, Koneko. Casper is there, but he just isn't around, if I remember. Like, he's still sealed away. Sorry to scratching my back head. They had one, like Issei had one, along with his little group had one. And so it broke down to this. Not Kiba. Well, yes, Kiba and Matsuda fought each other. Matsuda had more general power, while Kiba had greater skill. Because, if I remember, Kiba was trained by Sir Zek's Knight. I can't remember his name, but he's supposedly very powerful and a very good swordsmaster. Issei fought Akano and Rias at the same time, and Koneko fought Dog. Since, she's a cat, he's a dog. It's just how it went, really. Dog and Matsuda were able to beat Kiba and Koneko. Not too quickly, but pretty well. And then Issei sort of like messed around with Rias and Akano in the sense that he was able to separate them and sort of play between the two of them. Then he sent Rias away with a massive blast from his power and then focused down Akano. He then takes out Akano relatively quickly, like very quickly, as Rias thought he had hurt them very badly. So when Dog, Kiba, and himself separated away from that, essentially what happened was that when Rias tried to hit them with a full blast of her destruction magic, Issei essentially moved Dog and Kiba out of the way, or got them away, to where he could just use a full-on blast of Chaos Flame to pretty much overpower and destroy, or consume, as I would say, Rias's destruction magic, which is very powerful in itself. Even at Rias's current skill, which she isn't that powerful in retrospect to somebody like Sir Zex, though it is still very strong. As we continued on with it, Rias was curious on what they fought and how a magic like Issei's, which seems just like basic pyromancy, could defeat her magic or her destruction ability. So she went and questioned her mom. She got a bit of information about how supposedly thousands of years ago, before Rias or even Sir Zex was born, how exactly, or what exactly, could have created such magic, or where such magic could have originated from. And all Rias could do was that she sort of dotted down to where there was an ancient battle between the devils and angels with another group, as she said, group that appeared out of nowhere. The old Satan faction, or the old Satans, made it seem like it was a much greater threat to them than it actually was. And they just sort of try to erase it from history because of their defiance. But little do they know, Issei, or the Chaos Flame, as it was known as, survived. So, I'm going to cut back to... sorry. I'm going to cut back to Issei and them. As Issei, his mom, Matsuda, and Dog all talk together, they sort of laid down what's actually going on in the area. As she's having it run, as Issei's mom is having it run down to her, she's thinking on how screwed they could be in this potential situation. Because if a family of devils had laid claim to this area, that might have been fine. They could have probably hit on the radar, maybe get rid of the devils if it really came down to it. But this is a very, very high clan of devils. The Grimmery, which, as she knows from her, dealings with the underworld and knowing what's going on, she knows the Grimmery name. She knows one of the current Satans is part of the Grimmery family. And she hears that her son had literally just gone, picked a fight, and won against the Grimmery sister, against Ria's Grimmery, Sir Zek's little sister, which they all know that Sir Zex is crazy about his little sister ensuring her happiness and safety. So now, they gotta worry about Big Brother Zex coming to pay a visit. And Issei's mom is not confident in her son's ability to fight him. To be fair, Issei isn't very confident in his ability to fight him either, but what will happen will happen. As it's not a very good situation at the moment. Neither of them really knows how to handle this situation. It's very bad. So they're running it down between the two of them. What to do. As they're sort of running it down, trying to understand, like, pretty much backup plans to the backup plans, essentially. Because if, like I said before, if Sir Zex comes rumbling into town, they're gonna have to literally leave the country. That's if he doesn't find them first. The only way Issei's mom could even theorize that they would be able to get away is that if Issei somehow unlocked the true essence of the Chaos Flame to the extent he can, like his father did. Like, to the level his father could. That is the only way they're getting away. Because as you guys know, the Chaos Flame, if you remember, I said they got unlocked the power to it. Each Chaos Flame holder, the power level is different when it's passed down. Sometimes, depending on the person's individuality, it could either be boosted like a multiplied by 2, or it could not multiply at all. In a rare case, its power has, like, say it was 2 and multiplied by itself, so it became 4. That's bad. Alright. I'll say the word 8 sounds better. 8. So, instead of being at 8 times 2, where it just when it turned into 16, it'd be 8 times 8. Which, as we know, 8 times 8. Sorry for yawning. Is 64. It's been known to do that from time to time. But it's also had a couple of setbacks in the past where they sort of sprinkled the power of the Chaos Flame between multiple people. It's happened multiple times. Sorry, but I digress. As there really ain't a lot you can talk about with the sort of DXD universe. Sorry. You know what? I'm gonna do this. Issei and Matsuda continue their training, and Issei pushes himself further and further than before. As they still go out semi-regularly to hunt down either stray devils, whatever really the world tries to throw at them, to try and harm the people of Kuo. Problem is now that they got Rias and her group in their territory. So it's a lot harder for them to focus and do their job without being interrupted. As I'm going to cut ahead to the future. It's been like a year or so since Rias and them really got into town. They sort of gotten the lay of the land, so to speak. They're just sort of casually going through it. As you got, I believe, Kiba and Koneko. No, wait. I believe Koneko's a younger classman. Kiba's like middle grade. And Rias and Akano are since they're the oldest, quote unquote. So it's like 1, 2, 3, yeah. I would say that Kiba and Koneko end up at Issei's, Matsuda's, and all their school. It's a temporary one, since, frick, I forget what the high school is called, she can't see, that's from My Hero Academy. Just forget the name of the academy. They don't, I believe Akano and Rias are already attending there since they're a year older. So, let's just say they're a year away from going to Kuo Academy. That's what it's called. It's just called Kuo Academy. Sorry about that. They're essentially a year away from entering Kuo. Sorry about that. I just had to go look up what year he was when the high school DxD starts. He is a third year. Which I know that in their thing, if I remember, they start earlier. They don't start earlier. Let me see if I can remember. So, third year. Rias graduated at 18, so that means there's a fourth year, I believe. A fourth year. So for 18, 17, 15. Be like, I think it's 15 when they start their high school, I believe. Let me just research a little bit more. Just give me a second. Sorry, I just had to make sure I had my information correct. So, they have junior high school. So, it goes like kindergarten, elementary, junior high school, and high school. Is like the way it goes. Yeah. So, it's like from, I think it's 6, like 5 to 12, they are in junior high school. Before that, it's like 1 and 4 is elementary, and junior high school has 13 to 15, and then from there it's 16 to 18 for high school. So Issei and them are just before they enter high school. They are 15 years old, like his little group of friends and all that. And I don't remember where I left off on their ages. I'm sorry for that. But I'm saying it's just a year from entering Kuo, just for now. So Rias and them have been there for enough time to get situated and all that. Rias and Akano are already in Kuo Academy. They're in the first years. Their first years there. Well, Issei, Matsuda have to deal with the fact that they got Kiba and Akano and Koneko in their school. They sort of tailed them here and there, but on the twist side of that, they sort of noticed that Kiba and Koneko have sort of trailed them before. As they probably know that each of them are suspicious of one another and probably suspects the other of knowing about the supernatural. Now, this really isn't a good position for Issei and Matsuda, because they're trying to keep, like I said before, if you guys remember, I said they're trying to keep their friends out of this line of work. They don't want them nowhere near it, because it's very dangerous for normal humans. And even though Matsuda has been given a little bit of power from the Chaos Flame, thanks to Issei's ability to instill a little bit of it into weapons comparable to some Sacred Gears, it's still, he would say, not enough. They would have to push themselves to the highest they could be with their basic human attributes, and even still then, they would have a very, very hard time on taking on devils. A lot of the only reasons why humans have ever been able to fight the supernatural is when they have very strong weapons to do it for them. Like holy blades and such. A human isn't very strong compared to a devil. So they have to have holy weapons and a holy magic and all that to weaken devils prior. Even low-class devils. Which is what Kiba and all them were in the beginning. Of course, they have to have some skill. The weapons can't do all the work. Like in the episode where we see Konako and Kiba, like, fight through those priests that have Aja, like, captured and all that. They still got hurt by it, too. And Fried Selzen, even though he is not incredibly skilled, he is still, like, up there, I guess, you could say. He's not very powerful on the entirety of the scale, but you know what I mean. It is very strenuous, and very hard for them to keep all that sort of weight. That's essentially why Issei didn't even want Matsuda to know. Matsuda just got unlucky. As Matsuda and Issei are sort of sneaking off again to talk to one another, Motohama follows them because he's upset. He's getting pissed off that he's being left behind. So he sneaks away from, Murayama and Katase, so that way he can listen in on what Issei and my thing may be dying. Sorry about the change in audio. My stuff died. So anyways, as I digress, as he's listening in, he can hear them talking about, like, angels, devils, Kiba, Konako. As he's hearing, angels, devils? As in, it's just listen, as Issei and Matsuda are look, this is good enough place to train. Ugh. As Issei's you remember what my mom's been teaching about pyromancy? He's yeah, I know. Alright. As on their persons, they still have the items that wouldn't be really noticed, that can shift into, the chaos weapons. As you have Matsuda stand there, he's breathing in big and heavy breaths. Takes in one more and goes come on. Focus. Come on, boy. You can do it. He says, ignite! As he says that, his armaments and his armors boost on and they sort of cover his whole body. He looks like a knight that's been... Think of the Soul Ascender. Essentially, he looks like that. He's got the flaming sword. It's not coil, but the flaming sword, the armor, and and his jacket that he has on now sort of acts has a little bit of a cloak to it. As he's just alright. As he's cracking his neck, he's man, this is... Still takes a little bit to get used to that. As he seems I know, trust me. You think you're the only one? As Issei taps into his thing a bit, as he's been able to somewhat alter his body a bit, thanks to Chaos Flame, it doesn't do a whole lot, but he sort of increases in height, and his body somewhat gets cracks where you can see glowing bits of flame enter his body, where you can see it goes up his whole body. As Issei's standing there, as he activates his armor too, Issei's just as the height he stands now is... In the anime, he's 5'10", so this is before growth spurts, I'll say. He's 5'6" right now, so I'll say he jumps up to 6'4". So he gets a nice little boost in height. Nothing too crazy, but a nice little bit, as he is now like I would just say 4 inches taller than Matsuda. As I'll say, Matsuda, thanks to the training, diligent training, and the magic, his body has naturally enhanced itself to utilize said abilities more. As Issei is just like, you think you're ready for the weapon? As Matsuda sort of clangs his sort of weapon on his front arm, he's like, come on, I can take it, Issei. As Issei is just like, alright. As he looks around, he realizes he's sort of left his hatchet at home. He's like, as he's looking around, he looks down and just sees a discarded what is it called? A pocket knife. Let's say he just found a discarded pocket knife. He rings it up. He's like, and he sees a stick over yonder. He sort of takes the two of them and sort of wraps the knife to the stick after finding something. As Matsuda's like, oh, you're just insulting me now. I was like, give me a minute, Matsuda. God, impatient. As he's just like, as he focuses, he essentially focuses it to the point where he gets it to fuse together with the heat, and then activates his thing on it, as it's just like, forge, as he forces it together and creates a sort of spear. As he's just like, there we go. As he gives it a couple of twirls around his finger, he's like, oh yeah. Cracks his neck, he's like, this will serve just fine. As he gets ready, as he takes a step forward, he's just like, you ready, Matsuda? As he sort of gets the spear and has it over the top, sort of he's ready to throw it, as Matsuda's like, oh, come on, Issei, I'm not such a coward that I'd be scared of something like this. As he's somewhat scared, because he realized Issei just forged a new weapon. He should be worried, because he's been getting better at infusing chaos with stuff. As Motohamashi is like, what the fuck am I watching? As, unbeknownst to him, he did not slip away from Murayama and Kitase. They followed him. And he's just not very smart enough or aware enough to notice when he's being followed. So now those two of them have already seen this, and they're like, oh, did you know about this? Like, no. So what do we do? Is just like, I don't know. As a group of friends are just standing there as they wait to see, as they see Issei and Matsuda, they start sparring. But to them, they're fighting. As they see Issei come lunging in with the spear, Matsuda takes his sword and uses it to hit the spear side and try to stab into Issei. But Issei, using his armor, sort of shoots his fist forward as it sort of scrapes off to the side of his greaves, or his metal gloves, you could say, where it sparks off to the side as there are a few sparks that shine off. As they're standing there watching each other, it's just like, come on, Issei, don't take me too lightly now, you'll hurt my feelings. As Issei's just like, as he focuses more and causes the spear to become more like a glaive. As he takes it in two hands, he's like, this is better. As Matsuda's just like, in my big mouth. As Issei comes rushing at him again, but this time doing more slices and slashes. As Matsuda has to be more aware of where that blade is going to be. And Issei this time actually starts using a few pyromancies. Nothing too powerful, but something to keep Matsuda on his toes. As he is using these pyromancies, I'll say the ones he are using is like Fireball, and it ain't anything like, what's that one called? It's essentially like throwing the sun at a person. Yes, I see you. I'll have to hang this up soon. Samson wants to go out. But anyways, as they're sparring, Katase and Moriyama are just slowly but surely moving closer and closer until essentially they're right next to Motohama. He sees them and doesn't even care at this point, as he's sort of enwrapped at seeing Matsuda and Issei fight, as to Issei and Matsuda, they seem kind of sloppy. They don't seem to be doing as well as they should be. But to them, even to Katase and Moriyama, who are part of the Kendo Club, they can sort of see the parts where they need to get better at, like with their defense and attacking. But they also realize that they have magic. Some rules need to be changed for this sort of conflict. So as they're going down through it, where are you? There you are. They're watching and just are amazed. And at the very end, Issei is able to use a fireball to sort of get Matsuda to get off balance as he shoves him over and holds the thing to his neck. As there's a few little fires going on, nothing too big, as Issei can like sort of dims the fire down so they don't go out of control. You have, as Katase, Moriyama, and Motohama are just sort of standing there, as Issei's just like, huh, did better than last time. As he looks to his right and just sees them standing there, as Issei's just like, oh, shit. As that's where I'm going to end this one off at. Hope you guys enjoy this. Hope you guys continue to enjoy this. And, yeah, sorry it couldn't be longer, but I got stuff to attend to. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this. Hope you guys continue to enjoy this. And I hope you guys have a nice day, nice night, nice life.